Your
Yeah.
dad, for me, is the real greatest of all time. Like, it's not Kelly, it's Mark Phipps. Welcome back to the Insiders podcast, listeners. It's a dark evening. Myself and Darren are back, and we're going to light up your life. We've got a bit of a special episode tonight. Not fully normal, but pretty normal. But it's a special one of our best, I would say. And I'm going to let Darren tell you why. Evening, Daz.
Good evening, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, grand.
So we're lucky enough to get Laurie Phipps on the Zoom tonight, Matt. She is the daughter of one of my best friends, of who you know well, Mark Phipps. And maybe 3 years ago, just about this period of the year, I think it was a bit earlier, I think it was October, she had a pretty serious moped accident with a boyfriend and lost the underneath her kneecap down of her leg, which was an incredibly difficult moment, obviously, for the Phipps family, for Laurie herself. It was what a lot of people would think would be a massive road back. Became quite a surprise to anyone that knew the family because Laurie's just like a freak of nature. In high school, she was like a top student. She got like a mention très bien, which is like your highest you can get. She was enrolled to start at university in a commercial degree, I think, at the time. And obviously she put everything on hold, had to do rehab. Anytime anyone would see Laurie, and still before that, I've known her since she was knee-high to a grasshopper. She's one of the most happiest, smiling, friendly people you can ever met, and obviously highly intelligent, incredibly positive. And within a year, I remember Mark saying, "Oh, she's going surfing," and I was like, "What?" And she was surfing within a year. She was never like a professional surfer, a stick-it-up grommet or anything. She's just one of those kids who had the opportunity to surf with a dad who surfed, had an incredibly beautiful natural style, and loved the ocean. So she started surfing again, and out of the blue, which we'll hear from her later on, she decided to do a competition, and then she's just gone to the world. How do they call it again, Matt?
I think she said it was the World Parasurfing Championships.
Parasurfing Championships in the California coast. Obispo, was it?
I think so.
We'll soon hear from
She'll tell us.
Laurie on that. So welcome everyone, and let's talk to our evening guest.
Yeah, and everyone be inspired. If you're it's January, sorry. If it's cold and gloomy and rainy and you're lacking any kind of motivation or inspiration, listen to this, because she's a special human, not just surfer. She's a special human, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. We have a very special guest that I think I'm going to let you introduce, Daz.
Well, you would have heard me in our introduction that we'll do a small introduction on you, Laurie, without you hearing, and tell the whole world of all your accolades. But Laurie's the daughter of one of my best friends, and she just got back from the. Can you tell me how you correctly say what the competition was, Laurie?
It was the World Parasurfing Championships in Pismo Beach, California.
Okay, because I wondered how they worded it. I actually listened to a small podcast this morning with an Australian girl who won the prone division.
Yeah.
She's older and she's got a couple of children. So Laurie's actually grew up in France, and she's got an Australian and a Welsh mother and an Australian father. But you've also got a French passport, correct?
Yeah, all three nationalities.
Oh, you got all three.
Yeah.
Gnarly. And
Speedy.
can you keep all three?
Hopefully I can. No one said anything yet.
Okay, because I remember at one stage reading books, and at one stage there was a time where certain countries would force you to denounce one of your nationalities if you had
Yeah,
others.
I think most countries, but luckily for the UK, Australia, and France, we can't have three passports.
We're all mates. Europe and the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Can I have one?
So what division did you compete at the para surfing games, Laurie?
My division is called Stand 2. So it's when you surf standing up, but you have a disability below your knee, or if you have lower limb height differences. So it can be for multiple reasons, multiple disabilities, but that's the division that I'm in.
Sick.
And when did you get in your head, or when did you start thinking about doing this?
Pretty recently, actually. A lot of people have been encouraging me to do it for a long time, probably about 2 years. And I didn't want to do it at all because I've never done competitions in any sport. I've always surfed and I've always done lots of different sports, but I've never competed in anything because I just didn't want to, and I didn't like the thought of competing. And so when people kept telling me about it, and I was like, oh no, that's not my thing. Like, I don't like competing. So I'm not actually sure what made me do it. But this summer, so in June, I had my first competition. And I thought, oh, that was pretty fun, actually. That wasn't too bad. And I think it might be quite different from any competition, any different sort of competition, because it is in a para sport division. It's also really encouraging and it's really inspiring to go out and do something with other people that are in the same situation as you. I think maybe that's what I liked so much about it. And since then I haven't stopped.
That's so epic.
It's so good. So I don't think we said, but we will have said in the intro and stuff, but your dad for me is the real greatest of all time. Like, it's not Kelly, it's Mark Phipps, because he's made me surfboard and he's just the nicest guy ever. Sorry, Daz, but he is. And but
I wouldn't stand in the same room in niceness as Mark.
but and obviously with your dad, like, for people who know him and even just people who've kind of ever met him, he's very soft in his approach to things. He's hardcore, like he sends it, but he's pretty soft. So I was going to ask, like, how's he? Like, has he been like super encouraging, or has he just been like, do whatever you want to do, or like? And then obviously as well, your mum, because she's more like a pusher.
Yeah, definitely. I think they kind of equal each other out on both ends, but for sure both of them are really encouraging, and they weren't pushy at all, because I think they know that that's not what I need. And they both just said, like, just test it out. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. That's what they said for the first few competitions in France. And then when it came to the time that I could potentially be selected for the French team, they said the same thing. They're like, if you get selected, amazing, you can go see what it's all about. If you like it, you can keep going, trying to be selected for next year and the year after, and keep kind of going in that direction. But if not, like, it's an amazing experience. You've been there. You've got to meet heaps of really amazing people that all have amazing stories. And then if you want to come back and never do a surfing competition again, you don't have to. So I kind of did go in that mentality first. I just went just to discover, kind of see what was going on, what it was, because I had no experience with any sort of competitions, let alone an international competition. So it was more for like discovery, and then I realized.
And was that Was that the first time you'd ever been to America?
It was the first time I'd ever been
So
to
it's amazing, like travel experience as well.
Yeah. I was so happy to be able to go because I don't think I would have gone otherwise. It's a long way away.
How did it work? Did the French? How was it financed? Did they give you support?
Yeah, it was financed by the French surfing. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say everything about the finance.
Okay, well, I'm quite sure it's not a problem because I know that France backs everything 100%, like across all sports and other things like
not
that.
in parasurfing because I know in the last years, they didn't have any finance because it just wasn't financed. But this year, we got flown over by Air Tahiti. We got flown there and back by Air Tahiti, which was amazing. And we had accommodation paid for as well by the French Federation, and we had all our equipment by Roxy for the girls and Quicksilver for the guys.
That's amazing, though. It's good that they support it, and they should be as well because there's
they had a lot of sponsors. It was amazing.
Yeah, there's a UK. It's not in the same division, but there's a UK surfer called Melissa Reed, who at Board Shop we supported with a brand called Formboards for a good few years, and she's basically blind. I think when they showed a screen, she can see like the smallest amount, and it's amazing that she can even surf. It's super inspiring. But I know that like in England, her support was not great in terms of financially. So it's nice to hear that France stepped up. Got a question about that though. Yeah. Was there a choice? You've got 3 passports, as we discussed. Was there ever a part where you had to choose France, Australia, or Wales, or the UK?
No, I never had the choice, and I didn't look for a choice because when I was in one of my rehab clinics after my accident, the founder of Handy Surf, it's called, in France, came to see me with a few other with one other guy that was in the team with me this year. And I think it must have only been about 2 or 3 months after my accident, not even. And he came to show me like, look, there's people that are in the same situation as you or have other not so fun situations like other disabilities and are still surfing and are still having fun and are competing. So whenever you're ready, you can do it. What
was the founder's name?
His name is Jean-Marc Saint-Jour.
Okay, because I met a guy via Euroglass, Claudie, and he was heavily involved, and he was blind, or I don't know if he's 100% blind, but he was blind, and we made him a couple of surfboards. And another guy used to always come into Euroglass. Belly's not listening, so we can say this. And I'd give him a bag of like leashes and things like that for presents because they used to do a handy surf day at Signos.
Yeah,
and I remember this.
Still do.
Yeah, that Claudie guy used to ring me up all the time. He was frothing.
I've never met him, and I don't think I've ever heard of him either. But
so, what's the surf stoke like within the group?
I think it just depends on a lot of people from the team aren't even actually from the coast. Like some people are from inland and they've only started surfing recently. Some people have always surfed, but not like it depends for everyone. Some people actually have no idea how everything works, but they still come and do it.
So it's more of a participating activity.
I think it depends because there are people that have surfed their whole life that are amazing surfers that live on the coast, that's just part of their whole life. And then, so it's a really interesting mix and dynamic in the group between people that have grown up in the surfing world and people who have no idea about anything. And it's really nice to be able to explain stuff to everyone and to teach them stuff that for us, people who live on the coast and we've just grown up in surfing, it just seems so normal, but for them, it's like a completely new world. So that's really interesting to be able to have a mix of so many different people.
Does a question come up at all like, is your dad a shaper, and what was that like growing up, like fully immersed in this sport?
Not
Well, they
directly.
probably wouldn't know him like me and Matt, who are kind of like a bit like surf geeks as well.
There's definitely a few people that in the team that would know him, that do know him, and he's made boards for a few people in the team as well. So there's definitely quite a lot of people that know him, but I think some people would just have no idea. They'd just be like, oh, that's Laurie's dad bringing her to training.
Hey, so what size board did you surf? Because I saw you picked up a board on Instagram that was in front of Euroglass. It was
Yeah.
like a caviar or something. What was that like? A 6'8" or something?
I think that's a 6'2". I think it's quite small.
6'2".
Yeah, it's a 6'2", but it's got heat. I think it's got like 40 something liters, 40
Okay.
liters. It's quite big. I shouldn't be saying this, but I've never tried it yet. It flew to California and back, and I haven't tried it.
So what
I
board did you ride?
well, I think I
I
surfed the board you rode.
maybe. Oh, no, I don't think so. It's brand new.
Oh, maybe not then, because I surfed in when I came down in July. I surfed with Jay and your dad, and
Yeah.
on one session I took out an epoxy that he said your dad said was yours. It's like an epoxy shortboard. I think it's like 6'6".
Oh yeah, that's the one I was surfing in the heats.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's the one.
Maybe
Yeah,
it was Matt's magic.
I was about to say
maybe.
maybe that's the reason you didn't win.
No, that's the reason I got into the finals.
And who won it then, Laurie? What nationality was the girl that won it?
She was from Costa Rica. I think she's only 16 years old, and she was amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you when you was there, did you merge with the other countries out of the water as well, like and find out more about those surfers, or was it like kind of in the camps?
Not really. It was definitely, I think every country kind of were staying, like it was it was a team competition because there was the I don't even know how you say it. There was the classification by country.
Yeah, yeah.
So we were competing for our country and for the best position as a country, and it wasn't just individual. So I think everyone was definitely staying with their team. There was a few people that knew different team members from other countries. So you would bump into people and have a quick chat. But on the beach and after the comp was off, everyone was just with their countries.
Yeah.
So you didn't mosey on down to the Australian camp and steal a couple of beers.
No, I didn't. I had a chat with a few of them, but I think everyone was kind of super focused on getting the best results for their country. So
I'm winning.
yeah, on winning. So you couldn't go with the others.
And where did you guys come? Do I read correctly? Did you come third as a country?
We came second as a
Second.
country. Yeah.
And
Which
who
was
won?
USA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Daz, you're
But I
saying
think it was the first time that France had gotten such a good result. So everyone was very happy.
Daz, you keep saying that you guys finished second, but are you not French?
I am French. Oui. Except I speak French with an accent, and Laurie and my sons don't.
Oh, it depends. Some people say that I have an accent. It just depends on the people.
Okay.
Yeah.
To me, you have
I
a
don't
French accent.
personally, I don't think I have an accent.
No, you don't.
And some people I'll know them.
But maybe it does have a slight influence.
I think it depends on how people hear it, because I'll know some people for years, and when I tell them that both my parents speak English and that my first language is English, they don't believe me. They're like, "No, you're not. You're French. You're taking the mickey." I'm like, I actually am not. And then other people, I'll walk into the boulangerie, into the bakery, and the person straight away will go, "Oh, where are you from? You have an English accent." So I think it just depends on the people.
That's mad.
We went to Paris for a year in 99, 2000, and Emma, she's got like to lose an accent, like
Yeah.
still like kind of deep baritone South accent, and they thought she was like, they didn't think she was French at all.
Really?
Because
Wait, this is
like the
how new.
Parisian accent compared to the Southern accent's nothing alike.
No,
This is
it's
how
very
new.
different.
This is all completely news to me. So, in France, you have accents between regions, not just French.
You don't have that in England, Matt.
Well, yeah, I thought England, because I travelled Australia, and you kind of get it in Australia, but not.
Yeah, you do. You do. If you went out to like Ayers Rock or Darwin, like that's what you're thinking. Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, like would be a slight difference. But if you went to like Ayers Rock, and then you went to Perth, and then you went to Adelaide, you'd really hear a different way people speak. Like you guys with London or Liverpool or
Scotland.
Newcastle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ours is heavily different.
I think in France it's heavily different as well. If you look
Yeah.
from
Is
the
it? That's
south,
crazy.
and even both sides of the south is so different. And the north is a really strong accent, and then Parisians are like it's kind of the same as the UK, really.
What? So does everyone in Paris speak faster than everyone else?
And like posh and kind
Oh,
of
posh.
yeah, like very proper. They speak properly.
And then you can imagine a country like Argentina where it's really, really long.
Yeah.
And completely different, nearly cultures, I think, from where you would be in Buenos Aires to right down the south. I'm sure it's crazy there as well.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the States as well, it's so different.
Yeah.
So did they all sound like full Californians when you were there?
Yeah. It was really funny. It was like being in a movie.
And to the competition site, was it like walking distance or was it like bus?
No, it was
Minibus.
really close. Luckily, we were walking distance from the beach where the comp was. So in the morning, we had a massive American pickup, and we just put all the boards. We could fit probably about 24 boards in the back of the ute. And they drive all the boards down in the tents and the eskies, and we'd walk down. All the guys in wheelchairs would wheelchair down, and it was not even a 4-minute walk.
So how would they wheelchair down? They have like what fat wheels?
No, it was all ramps down.
Okay.
And then as soon as you hit the sand, they had a special ramp on the sand that made you be able to wheel over it. And then at the end of the ramp, which is at high tide, would be at most 25 meters from the water, from the shoreline. They have special wheelchairs on the sand with massive, massive wheels to drop them off in the water and pick them up from the water.
I can imagine if there was any country in the world that is prepared for something like that, it would be the Americans.
Yeah. And they had an amazing team. So they had people that's all they did all day. And you could see them. They were there from like 6 a.m. until it was almost dark. And the water's freezing. It's like, no, it's probably not freezing compared to in the UK, but it's like 13 degrees. And it was really
colder than here at the moment anyway.
And the air was cold as well. It was in the morning, it was like 6 or 7 degrees. And so they were there all day, just going up and down the beach, dropping people in the water, picking them up, putting them on the chairs and bringing them back up. So they had a really, really tough job, and they did an amazing job at it.
So you guys were all surfing in 4.3s then?
Yeah. Some people had like gloves, hoodies, booties on, everything. But for the heats, it was fun just in a 4.3.
Yeah. So we're like talking a little bit more about yourself. Like how like involved in the surf world are you? Do you follow much of it like outside of just what you're doing, or and like do you like get inspired by other people in this, like, to surf?
I'm actually not that involved in the surfing world because I don't really follow any other competitions. I just have my dad and my brother to tell me what I need to do and when I need to do it, really.
That's what you need.
What did Jay think about the whole thing?
Jay was amazing. He gave the best advice ever for a 15-year-old kid. He gave the best advice like every day before, if I had a heat, he'd send me a message like a really motivation filled message and give me a call and tell me what I need to do, and it was amazing.
Jay's the man.
He was
That's
definitely
heartwarming.
the pushier version of
Yeah.
mum and dad. It's like, you need to train more. As soon as you get home, you're going to train, and the next year you're going to win it. And he was a great help as well.
Yeah,
You were
Jay's
at least you were like in an environment that you're used to, because this is one for you, Matt. I remember one time talking to, I don't know if it was you, Laurie, but it was either you and Nina or Nina and Jay, and we were talking about like summer school holiday activities.
Yeah.
And I was saying, oh, I've got to try and take Elliot to do this. And you guys go, oh, the only thing we ever do with Dad is go down to the beach.
I can't remember if that was me, but it was definitely one of us. Yeah, we go to the beach with Dad. That's Dad's activity. And he's really good at it as well. He gets to find us the best spots.
I remember when I came to yours, I think I know I was talking to you about it, but when you was telling me about a trip when I think you showed, or your mum had shown me some photos, and Jay was young, and you were quite young, but you were taken to Fiji or Bali.
Oh, the mental eyes.
And that's it, yeah. And it was just like you had like local people coming up and stuff, and just I remember your mum telling me it was like crazy because she just had like 3 kids running around, and your dad was just surfing the whole time.
Yeah. I don't think that was just for the mental eyes. I think that's anywhere we go. If there's an ocean nearby.
Yeah.
But if the waves were good for us, we'd be in the water with Dad. And then Mum was free by herself on the beach, and Dad had to have 3 kids paddling around him.
Well, yeah.
If you're looking for me, I'm out the back, kids.
Yeah.
Hey, so we had a young girl from the Sunshine Coast on the podcast like 10 days ago, Laurie, and Sophie McCulloch, and she was telling us one of the one of the positive upsides of when the pandemic happened was she was heavily in surfing competition. She went back to uni and finished her degree in biochemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Impressive.
you who had a pretty successful high school academic career, and you had started university, and obviously it was a bit of an rising with your accident and the last couple of years, and you put study off. Where do you see now your next step? Yeah, are you thinking of going back to studying straight away, or are you just going to take your time, or is the Olympics something that you're thinking of?
I'd definitely like to start studying again. The problem is I often have an amazing idea for a few weeks, and that's going to be my future career. And then after about 2 or 3 weeks, I think to myself, oh no, that's a terrible idea. I would hate doing that. So I'm having a bit of a problem finding what I actually want to do. But I know
I still have that problem.
So I really do want to go back to uni. It's just a matter of finding what I want to do.
And are you thinking about the Paralympics?
The surfing isn't in the Paralympics yet.
Okay.
We need to start a petition to change that.
They actually they're going to make the decision this January. So I'll be able to tell you soon if surfing will be in the Paralympics, because surfing obviously is in the Olympics. But from what I've understood, when there's a new sport, they have it for 2 years, kind of as like a test. and after the 2 years, if they just or the 2 years of
To
the
Olympics.
Olympics, basically, if after that they decide to keep the sport in the Olympics, then they'll put the para version of it in the Paralympics. So because surfing is in the next Olympics, I think they must have decided to keep it, or they are in the decision-making time. They are deciding this January whether surfing will be in the Paralympics or not.
So you could be surfing 10-foot Tahiti.
No, it'd be for 2028 Olympics.
Okay.
Yeah. So that I think if they would, I'd definitely do everything I could to be in the Olympics, the Paralympics. I think that'd be a pretty amazing opportunity.
Would you take Jay as a coach?
I think he'd make me. I wouldn't have a choice.
He might. He could be there.
Yeah, he could be there.
In the full run. You could be his coach for that, and then he could come and be your coach.
I know. We could I don't think he'd want me as a coach.
I don't know.
No.
So at the moment, we're in the middle of winter, so I'm assuming surfing's not incredibly easy at the moment, like for the rest of us.
Yeah.
So how do you when would the next competition you be looking at be?
The next competition for me in France would be in June, which is the French Parasurfing Open. And I am looking into at the moment whether I'll be doing some international competitions or not, because there is a kind of a few international competitions. There's one in California. There's, I think, 2 in the UK. There's one in Wales and one in the wave pool in Bristol. Then there's one in France, one in Portugal, and one in Japan. I'm pretty sure. I might be missing 1 or 2. So and one in Hawaii, sorry. And so I'm going to look into whether I will start doing those or not, but nothing's sure for the moment.
The Bristol one would be quite easy because there's a good flight from Bordeaux, I think. Isn't it Ryanair or EasyJet?
Yeah. I will try to do the ones in Europe at least, because that's quite easy to get to. It's just a matter of timing and money as well to get to Hawaii.
Finding the coin like all of us.
Yeah.
So have you been to Bristol before or not? Have you been to a wave pool at all?
Yeah. I have been to a wave pool before. I've never been to the one in Bristol. And I'm pretty sure the competition in Wales is at Snowdonia.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. It still exists, Matt.
Apparently, if it's not, they've had some problems lately at Snowdonia where they've had to, I don't know how it works or not, but they've basically had a leak or whatever, and they've had to take all the water out and then put it all back in and stuff. But
yeah, there was a split in the thing, but I thought that was a few years ago.
Yeah, they have. They're expanding a lot there.
It's recurring.
If you get there, because it's miles away from anything. If you get there, they've got a hotel now and they've got a full adventure park up there, which is pretty cool.
Oh, amazing.
But Bristol.
It might not be there then. But Bristol sounds amazing.
Yeah, Bristol's really good. It's a bit rubbish for an English guy. Bristol's wave pool is a wave garden, that's the brand, and all of them worldwide are pretty much exactly the same except for Bristol, where they only they have limited settings and stuff. But I've been there probably 10 times, and it's still a lot of fun. It's a perfect little wave that's repetitive, so that'd be good. If it's warm, it gets really cold. But if it's in the summer, it gets really hot.
Hopefully.
Hey, so Laurie, we have a little segment that we do so we don't keep you all night at the end of each show, and it's called Do's and Don'ts. Yeah. Matt will explain it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is where we put you on the spot, and basically we ask everybody for a surfing do and a surfing don't. If you got it and it's not about surfing, it doesn't have to be about surfing, but Yeah, just something that you've picked up through your life that maybe you've seen happen and you're like, oh, don't be that person, or a little tip or trick that you're like, oh, that's a
It
good
is
thing.
better if it's related to surfing, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Related to surfing. I'd maybe someone's already said this, but I'd say don't be the angry person in the water that gets angry at everyone just because they're not having a good surf. Because it's really annoying for everyone around.
Yeah.
Puts you in a bad mood. Just be
Okay.
happy. Everyone's out there having fun. Just be happy.
Yeah. That must be your dad. He must be the angry guy. Just
No, probably because he's told that to me. He's said that to me so many times.
he's the most chilled out person out there ever.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a lot of angry people in the surf here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In France.
You got
I can
shouted at a few weeks ago, didn't you, Daz?
Yeah, yeah, but it is a hard area, France, because we've got such dramatic tide changes and weather changes that it's a really hard place to actually get really good waves by yourself. So I do understand people being grumpy here, but it does suck at the same time. And what would be a do? Like, do
do.
remember your wax?
Um, Honestly, I don't have to do anything because, like I said before, Dad and Jay actually do everything. When I go surfing, I just have to put my wetsuit on. I know that my bag will be packed, my board will be ready, fins in, wax on, leg rope on. They call me the surf princess because I just have to paddle out really, and even Dad will push me sometimes when I'm feeling so lazy.
So
So
so I'll butt in there and say, do live like Laurie and
yeah.
become a surf princess because that sounds perfect to me.
It's a pretty good deal. I can't complain.
Hey, what would
I
you
think one
do?
of the coolest things I saw this year was I'd surf Le Penon, and as I walked back, you might remember you were there surfing with your dad and Jay, and you had the bike on the beach, and we
Yeah.
stopped and had a chat, and I saw you and your dad paddling and pushing into one like halfway out. And Jay was on the inside on this little shore break left going for air and everything. And I was thinking, there's a family that surfs together.
That's
Yeah,
sick.
a family that surfs together stays together.
Oh, I still might get there. Marlo's kind of keen. We'll see. You never know.
What, just quickly though, so what would you do if you rocked up? Because we have a thing called Daz's disasters. Because Darren's always got a story about how he's left something or forgot something or done something weird. Um, who would you blame if you rock up to a surf and they've forgotten your leash?
Probably Jay.
The super coach.
Yeah. Because I can't blame Dad. He's too nice, but I can blame Jay. And he gets wound up really easily and it's quite fun to wind him up.
Oh, you can always blame the little brother. I see that a lot here.
Poor Jay. I hope he doesn't listen.
Well, thanks so much for sharing your time with us, Laurie.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks again. And like to me personally, like you're super inspiring by pushing it and getting out and surfing and just doing what you do anyway. So it means a lot for you to give us your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Do you know what is actually very funny? About a month ago, I was talking to one of my friends and I was saying, I would love to do a podcast. I would love to do a podcast. And about 2 weeks later, Darren sent me a message saying, hey, would you like to be on our podcast with Matt? I was like,
I
yeah,
I
sure.
reckon podcast producer at uni could be a good call.
Yeah, for the next 2 weeks.
Maybe. That's a good idea. I'll look into it.
It's gonna cut out, but thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
And good evening. And say good day to your mum.
I will.
Yeah,
And Nina.
I
yeah.
will. Have a
And the
nice
dog
evening.
and Lonnie.
And Lonnie. We have Ozzy as well. We have a foster dog at the
Oh,
moment.
he's back.
Say
we'll
hi
speak-
to everyone
and
on
we'll
your
speak-
end as well.
And we'll speak soon too, Matt.
Yeah, mate.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Mhm.